All right, I think we're about ready to start here. So, welcome to TapHunter's webinar, How to Make Craft Beer Work for You, hosted by our very own National Accounts Manager, Andy the Beerman Coppock. Today is the last webinar of this three-part webinar series. So, if you didn't get a chance to view the previous two webinars, I'll send you a link to their recording tomorrow, along with this webinar's recording. So first today, we're going to begin by learning how to make craft beer work for you. Then at the end of the presentation, we're going to have a quick Q&A time. So feel free to type your questions into the webinar box and send them in at any point throughout the webinar. Then we'll go through them at the very end. Total with the Q&A, the presentation should last about 15 or so minutes. Afterwards, we're going to roll into a quick TapHunter product demonstration. Many of you are already familiar with TapHunter or you're already a TapHunter customer, so feel free to drop off at that point. However, if you're interested in the TapHunter tools and how they can save you time and money with your beverage program, then feel free to stay on and join us. Total, we shouldn't go more than 30 minutes. So without further ado, I will introduce you to our webinar host, Andy the Beerman Coppock.
Thank you very much, Kara. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today for How to Make Craft Beer Work for You. Again, this is the third, final part of our three-part series about craft beer. In our first two talks, we discussed what is craft beer and staying relevant with your audience, specifically the millennial audience. Here in part three, we're going to show you how to continue to attract new customers and hopefully keep the audience that you've attracted. For those that don't know me, I'm Andy the Beerman. I've got over 20 years in the beverage and hospitality industries. I've been beverage coordinator for Stone Brewing World Bistro and Gardens, as well as the lead bartender for their Liberty Station location. So I oversaw and was responsible for their entire draft program, cleaning, maintenance, as well as service training. As far as servers, beer tasting, style guidelines, all the fun stuff. And I was also a marketing rep for Green Flash Brewing Company. And for the last 2 years, I've been National Accounts Manager here at TapHunter. One of the most important pieces of making craft beer work for you is something that I stressed working for Stone. It's proper service. And proper service goes far beyond just pouring beer in a glass and putting it in front of your customer. For me personally, the number one most important piece of proper service is making sure that the beer you're pouring is pouring through clean lines. There's nothing worse than going into a bar or restaurant, ordering your favorite beer, a beer you know how it tastes, and that flavor is off. It doesn't taste right. A brewer takes up to several months to brew, finish, and package that keg of beer, and the quality and flavor of that beer can be ruined in just a few seconds, traveling from keg to faucet in a draft system that hasn't been properly maintained. As I'm sure you know, yeast, mold, and bacteria can build up in your beer lines if they're not properly maintained. It is highly recommended that you clean your beer lines every 2 weeks, more often if you're actually pouring barrel-aged or sour beers. That was one of the things that we did at Stone. Anytime there was a bourbon barrel or sour beer, that line got cleaned each and every time. And you can't always count on distributors to keep your lines clean. I know a lot of folks in the industry, their distributors keep their lines clean, come out and clean their lines. You can't always count on them. I strongly recommend investing in a cleaning can and sanitizer of your very own. Or you can always look around, find a local draft service provider that can be cost effective for you as well. It costs a little money, but your customers will definitely thank you. And the other thing, is make sure the glassware is clean. Nothing is more disappointing than getting a beer that doesn't look right as well. When beer glasses are washed with other dishes, a thin, invisible layer of film gets deposited on the inside of that glass. Those residues attack foam. They can give beer off flavors, and really the appearance isn't real sharp either. You can tell a glass is not properly cleaned when the CO2 bubbles cling to the side and bottom of the glass. It's best to wash your glassware separate from other dishes, if at all possible, using a non-foaming cleanser. I recommend the 3-sink method is the best way, but even if it means having one of the small compact dishwashers just for your glassware, that's excellent as well. And I also recommend having a glass rinser behind the bar to make sure the glass is beer clean. We use that little glass rinser. You can see the water sheet off and tell that your glass is beer clean. And whenever and wherever possible, Change up your glassware. The most common glass for serving beer in the upper left corner there is also probably one of the worst ones for the beer itself. It's the shaker pint. I know they're cheap. I know they're easy to stack, and heck, you'll even get them for free from a lot of your beer distributors and the big boys. But the shape of the glass itself is counterproductive to great beer. Wide top and narrow bottom mean you have to grab it, with a full hand. Basically means you're going to warm the beer up faster than it probably should be, or faster than you want it to. And with that wide opening, all those wonderful volatile aromas from the hops and the yeast and the malts dissipate really, really quickly. And taste is 70% smell. So if you can't smell the beer, you're not going to be able to fully taste the beer. So again, presentation is key. There are dozens of glassware styles that can help in the presentation of beer. Just a handful here. Most of them are pretty cost effective depending on what kind of beer you're serving. You may want to serve higher alcohol beers in a snifter, tulip, or goblet, big stouts, maybe in a nonic pint or tulip glass. There's lots of options out there for you. And another big key is temperature. Far too often you get beer served way too cold. We all love cold beer, just not too cold. I see those silly commercials with the mountains that turn blue. It kills me. Serving beer too cold inhibits those same volatiles that we talked about in the last slide. Uh, they want you to serve it cold so you can't smell how skunky the beer is when you see commercials like that. Serving beer too warm is going to cause the CO2 bubbles to break down, resulting in foamy beer. I know it's not logistically possible to have different temperature controls for every beer you serve, unless you're McKellar Bar in San Francisco and you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a draft system, but that's not realistic. Try to keep your serving temperature between 34 and 38 degrees. It'll warm up in the glass. For lagers, pilsners, wheat beers, it'll only take a few minutes for it to get to that, excellent drinking temperature. Ale, stouts, and IPAs, you want to serve just a little bit warmer. And then strong ales, dark ales, and sours, you want to get those up to cellar temperature in that 50 to 55 degree range. And please, no frozen glassware. This goes back to the cleaning, the clean and proper glassware as well. The sanitizers and chemicals can freeze to the inside of the glass, bringing in potential off flavors to the beer. And again, it keeps it too cold, and you're inhibiting all those wonderful flavors. Okay, now that we've got our draft system dialed in, now we're using some better glassware and we're serving our beer at the right temperature. Now what? The question is, how do I let people know? How do I increase awareness about my Killer Craft program? Social media is huge. As we discussed in part 2, social media, especially for the millennials, is the new word of mouth. We know that your customers are using social media to connect with their friends and acquaintances, and you can use that same social media to connect with your customers and potential customers as well. Look, not everybody is web and social media savvy. I advise you to look at your staff. Hostesses, servers, they're generally going to have a little bit better grasp on the social media stuff than some of us. Take advantage of the resources that you have. Another thing that you can also do is really work to increase your mobile presence. We all know that Yelp is a double-edged sword, but in today's landscape, you kind of have to use it. There are a ton of tools out there to increase your mobile presence and your visibility, whether it's getting on an app like TapHunter or using Yelp. You want to get in front of as many people as possible, make sure they can find your location. And really key in the mobile world and in the digital world is to have a really clean, easy to navigate website. And here's 5 quick tips for you to get your website, up to snuff, as they say. Again, make it mobile friendly. More people use their phones to look up information, web addresses, directions than they use on their computers, and that's only continuing to grow. 72% of people expect a business to have a mobile-friendly site, so it's very critical. If it doesn't transfer to mobile well, you risk alienating potential customers. 79% of people will leave a website, and basically bail out on their phone if it takes too long to load or it just doesn't display properly. So definitely work to make it mobile as possible. List your menus on your mobile-friendly site, of course. People make decisions on the go, and if they don't know what you're serving, they're less likely to come in. We talked about some of this in part 2, but 81% of consumers are searching for restaurants via their mobile phones. 80% say it's important to see those menus before making a decision. And 62%, that's a big chunk. They're less likely to choose your location if they can't read the menus on your phone. So keep your menus updated, not just your beverage menus, but your food menus, and make sure they're in easy to read format as well. And that comes in avoid using PDF menus. Traditionally, a lot of restaurants have saved their food menus into a PDF, put it up on their website. That it slows down the whole process. Not only are they harder to edit, and they don't load well on mobile devices, they tend to load pretty slowly on traditional computer browsers as well. So if you can, avoid using PDFs. Utilize tools that are out there. Use, in your website, your mobile-friendly website. Use Google Maps. Pretty much all of the major, out-of-the-box web solutions out there: Wix, Squarespace, WordPress. Make it really easy to integrate this stuff in there. If you're not super tech savvy, talk to your web designer. Talk to someone again on your staff about getting that together. You'd be surprised how many websites do not link to a searchable map. People are much more likely to come in if they can click through 4 directions right on their phone. Another thing is to make your phone number clickable. Now I can call your location with a click of a button. Otherwise, I'm going to try and copy and paste while I'm on the go, or I have to recite the number to somebody and hopefully they remember it, or try to write it down. And all this time I'm searching for your location. These things aren't very likely to happen. So try to, whenever and wherever possible, make it clickable as well. Now that you've increased your social media and your mobile presence, you got your super mobile friendly website, how do you target the audience that you want? Highly recommend embracing the local craft culture. Every community has local breweries. Find those breweries, visit them, get to know them, let them know that that you want to serve or are serving their beer, and kind of build that relationship with the local brewers. Host events, invite them to come to meet the brewer, host tap takeovers, beer dinners. These are all great ways to attract the craft crowd that you're looking for. Another great way is to join your local Brewers Guild. I mentioned going to breweries, but every state has a state Brewers Guild. Some places have local Brewers Guild, like here in San Diego, we have the San Diego Brewers Guild because we've got a lot of brewers. But they'll offer associate memberships for bars and restaurants, so you can be a sponsoring member. You usually get a link on their website. Gets the word out to other people in the craft community that you're supporting them. Find a local homebrew club. Every community has a homebrew club. Search online, find those homebrew clubs, encourage them to host meetings at your location, offer discounts for home brewers. And I thought about this after we put this together. Join the Brewers, look at the Brewers Association, offer Brewers Association discounts. That means people that are coming into your town from around the country know they're going to get a discount for being a member of the Brewers Association as well. So again, those Brewers Guilds on a local and national level can really help draw business in and let people know that you actually care about the product. Also, another thing to do is, do seasonal pairing menus. Change up your menus, by the season. Like here's for summer, some great ideas as far as pairing saisons and fish and chicken, sour beers and fried foods are really good, and wash rind cheeses. So there's some really good insight on summer beer pairing. And there's a ton of resources out there. The Brewers Association, again, has a very handy pairing chart on their website. And there are also some great books out there. I highly recommend Tasting Beer by Randy Mosher and The Brewmaster's Table from Garrett Oliver, the owner and brewmaster at Brooklyn Brewing Company. 2 great books. Definitely pick those up and get some excellent information from there. And it kind of goes without saying, but educate your staff. There's a lot of ways to do that. Pre-shift meetings. Spend 10 or 15 minutes before you open going over the new beers of the day or suggested pairings. Tasting notes. When you do get new beers in, you can get those tasting notes either from the brewer or from your distributor, so your staff knows what's going on. Suggested pairing combos are always great to get the staff up to speed. In addition to educating your staff, you can learn from your staff as well. Ask them, where do you spend your time after work? What bars do you go to? What are they doing right? What are they doing well? It's a great way to kind of see what, what the competition is doing, but things that you can improve on as well. What are what are they doing to attract your customers? What events do they go to? Use your staff as a resource to attract other customers that are like them. Really cool as well. Do little classes. In addition to pre-shift, those quick meetings. Bring in a local brewer or someone that teaches classes, anything like that. Have them do a beer class. Really great way to increase the education level for your staff. Call it a brew university or whatever you like. Talk about beer styles, differences within beer styles. Check with your local distributor reps as well. They may have a Cicerone on staff that's more than willing to come out and work with your staff as well. Your staff is a resource. Highly encourage you to invest in your staff. Like I said, the beer classes, you can take that a step further and get a certification, whether it's proper alcohol service. I think most states almost require you to have a proper alcohol service class, but step them up a little bit. Look at the certified beer server program from Cicerone. It's a great way to start. Your customers will definitely appreciate the knowledge. You can use that as a tool, advertise, let people know that you have staff that's certified, Cicerone certified beer servers as well. They'll appreciate the knowledge, and they will really appreciate the fact that you care enough to get your staff certified. Whew, that was a lot to cover. Went through quite a few slides there, and just want to review again. There are some great ways to make craft beer work for you. Really strongly, utilize proper service. From clean lines to proper glassware, proper serving temperature. That little bit of care goes a very long way in attracting and keeping those customers. And work to create awareness of your craft beer program. If you're serving it, get the word out. Social media, have a strong mobile presence. Real-time accurate menus, a clean website. All those things are going to help generate the word of mouth that helps you, drive business. And again, embrace the local beer culture. Events, pairings, promotions, memberships, homebrew clubs. Those are all going to help you reach out to that craft beer crowd and hopefully keep them as well. And I can't stress this one enough. Utilize the best resource you have. You've got staff. Pick their brains. Find out what they like. It's a great way to draw folks in. And of course, they're very social as well. Getting back to that social media thing we talked about. They're going to tell their friends, and they're going to tell two friends. You know how that works. And again, educate the staff and learn from them as much as you can. Do those beer classes. Encourage self-education. Get your staff, ABC and Cicerone certified. This shows again that you care about the product and you care about your guests. Getting them in is one thing, keeping is another. So the rest of it's going to be up to you. Kara?
All right. Thank you, Andy. That, as always, was very informative. A lot of great information for our listeners. So we do have a few questions here. So I'll read off the first one for you. It says, how do I find a local brewers guild?
Good old Google is probably the best thing you can do. Search, beer guild, brewers guild, things like that. I know San Diego tends to be a bit of an anomaly. We have the California Craft Brewers Guild or Craft Beer Association, and you've got the San Diego Brewers Guild. And even within San Diego County, some of the local communities have so many breweries. They've started even smaller guilds to help support that. So it's usually pretty easy to find. Definitely state guilds and oftentimes local and regional guilds as well. So definitely get involved with those folks.
All right, great. The second question we have here is, how do I make my site mobile friendly?
Cool. And we get that a lot. I'm always looking through, bar and restaurant websites. It's part of what I do here at TapHunter. And it's remarkable how many people have, mobile unfriendly sites, but sites that are clunky and don't even load well on a desktop. Again, find somebody. Usually you can find somebody that's pretty cost effective to redo your website. So many of the new programs are built to be mobile friendly. I think I mentioned it earlier, WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, they are all designed to be very mobile friendly. pretty straightforward, and they're all pretty simple. You don't have to be a total web genius to be able to update them. Uh, Again, you've probably got staff members that are pretty web savvy as well. Utilize the folks you have on your staff, college students taking design classes, things like that. It's a great way to really streamline the website and make it as mobile friendly as possible.
Awesome. All right. So we have time for one more question here. And if you have any more questions, feel free to email them in later. But this question is, I would like to get my staff Cicerone beer server certified, but it isn't an insignificant investment. Is it really worth it? And what are the main benefits?
Okay, this is something I'm actually pretty passionate about. I'm taking my certified Cicerone exam here in a couple of weeks. I've been beer server certified for 5 years, I think. And yeah, it's not an insignificant investment, but it's not a huge investment either. I believe the exam is $69 to pass for the exam. Offer your staff half. Offer to pay for the whole thing. It is a worthwhile investment. It does make a difference. The people on the other side of the bar, your customers, your guests, the people that you're trying to attract and keep, again, they're going to be impressed that you've taken the time and trouble to get your staff certified, or beer server certified through the Cicerone program, or whatever local program it is, whether it's the Siebel Institute out of Chicago, or there's a whole bunch of programs out there. I'm partial to Cicerone, but the benefits, again, your staff knows their stuff, and having a staff that really knows their stuff is going to impress the heck out of your guests. And if your guests are impressed, what are they going to do? They're going to come back. So a great, I highly recommend it. Having been, again, bar manager, having worked in the industry all these years, one of the best things to come along is the Cicerone Certified Beer Server Program. Cool.
All right, well, that wraps up our Q&A session. Thanks so much for everyone who joined us today. You'll be receiving a recording of this webinar tomorrow, along with a link to the previous 2 webinars if you want to check those out. Now we're going to roll into a quick TapHunter product demonstration. If you're already familiar with the TapHunter product or a current TapHunter customer, feel free to drop off now. All right, Andy?
Thank you again, Kara. And just if you're not familiar with TapHunter, it is a beverage management and marketing platform. Our goal is to help save bars and brands time and money. We want to increase your exposure, your scalability, and bottom line, increase your revenue. I want to help you save time and sell more. Really what we want to do is engage your customers. We use our mobile app to increase that customer engagement and your mobile presence. We help educate your staff, as we talked about in the webinar. When your staff knows what's pouring, it's always going to be more beneficial for you. We want to help you grow your fan base, keep them coming back, and again, at the end of the day, help you sell more. Our tools are really straightforward and simple. As I like to say, you change the keg, our tools handle everything else. You can update your drink list from pretty much anywhere, update your website, your mobile-friendly website, your social media, your digital displays, your print menus, all with the click of a button. It really is a one-stop shop for managing your beverage program. For printing your menus out, we have tons of standard templates. Well, not tons, but we have some really cool standard templates that are very robust. We can also help you customize and personalize a menu as well. Get the word out. Put the list in front of people. People are, when they're educated, they're going to buy more. Digital drink displays has become a really big thing for us and across the industry. Get rid of the dusty old chalkboard, trying to find the hostess or server that has the best handwriting, and usually they're in a place that's not the easiest to get to. Sometimes they can be a bit dangerous updating those chalkboards. So this is literally a digital chalkboard. It's a little box that plugs in through the HDMI port of your TV. We call it a framboise. Really straightforward, and if you have an AV system, lots of TVs, it'll plug right into those systems as well. And then for your web widget, or for your website, I mentioned having live real-time menus, accurate menus on your website, both your static or your standard and your mobile presence. It's a widget. It's really a line of code. You can install it yourself. We'll help you install it or give it to your web designer. Basically takes our data feed, translates it into the language of your website so you have a live real-time menu on your website. Set it and forget it. Social media tools are included as well. We'll help you put a live real-time menu on your Facebook fan page. We'll automatically tweet out to your Twitter followers, letting them know that you've put new product on. So again, a great way to stay relevant in that mobile world through the social media tools that we provide for you here. Customer engagement, of course, is key. With the TapHunter mobile app, people can not only favorite your location or follow your location and stay up to date every time you update your list by getting a push notification on their phone. They can also follow individual beers, cocktails, spirits, beer brands, beer styles. Use Sculpin as an example. Not only can I follow one of the most popular IPAs in the country, I can also follow American IPAs. So when other beers like Sculpin get tapped, I get notified as well. So again, alerting your potential new customers that follow particular beers, or keeping your current customers engaged and let them know what's happening in real time. And we'll also pull stats for you as well. Let you know how people are finding you. Are they seeing you on the TapHunter mobile app with our 200,000 plus downloads? Are they visiting the TapHunter website on their computer with another 75,000 unique monthly visitors every month? We'll see specifically what beer you're being found by. What are they clicking through to find your location? You can also see top new favorites across the platform, the top favorite beers across the platform. You can even see what the best days for searching are. So it's great consumer insight, helping you make better buying decisions for your customers. And that's pretty much it. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're interested in the TapHunter tools for your bar or restaurant, tasting room, email Kara at taphunter.com. You can also go online, request a free demo at gettaphunter.com. There's also some great stuff up there on how the platform works. And again, thank you for joining us for our webinar. That was the final. There's not another one coming up because that's actually happening right now. But again, thank you so much for joining us, and appreciate your time. Cheers.